Welcome to the video. This is Mark Sisson. We've got a big bowl of rice here. I have a couple of these to dinner tonight. We've got some pasta sauce on that. Beautiful. Oil-free, super low fat. And we've got some tomato relish here. Beautiful on the rice. Salsa, soy sauce. Plenty of oil-free, fat-free condiments. So we've got a bit of the flip side here. We've got Mark Sisson, who claims he eats 1,500 calories a day high fat, and you got me over here who eats 4, 5, 10,000 calories a day carbohydrate. I basically eat as much carbohydrates as I want. Sugars, refined carbohydrates, the last 2 decades. So tonight we're going to compare my diet versus Mark Sisson, and let's have a look at what Mark Sisson claims he eats in a day. And it is starvation nation, baby. So just a bit of background, Mark Sisson, also a marathon runner like me back in the day. He was a very, very fast runner. So very, very fast runner in the US. His wife's a skinny vegetarian, and his daughters also eat a vegan, high-carb, vegetarian / low-fat diet. So it's interesting that his family doesn't eat the way he claims to eat on camera. Let's find out more.
Cool. So I start my day with a cup of coffee, and I love a French press. I try to make it as thick.
How much coffee's going in that thing? I mean, I haven't drank a cup of coffee for 20 years, but isn't that a lot of coffee?
As I possibly can, and they're rich. So
how much coffee he's put in that thing? Damn.
So I put probably more than you'd normally prescribe for 1 cup. But that's how I like it. Because of metabolic flexibility, I wake up.
And then he throws in these metabolic flexibility. Bro, that's like 500 milligrams of caffeine. You are tired as heck. You're so tired from glucose exhaustion, you're even having a whole bag of coffee. Would you like some water with your coffee, sir? It's hilarious. Would you like some coffee with your water?
Full of energy. I don't feel the need to eat.
Full of energy. Look at his eye bags. He looks tired. Full of energy. Bro, if you're so full of energy, why do you have to wake up with stimulants, a powerful central nervous stimulant like caffeine? Damn. I mean, I have caffeine a few times a year, here and there, a few times a month actually, but not because of fatigue issues. It's more for performance enhancing, or if I've got to plow through some boring computer work, editing, etc., some tech stuff or HTML, but I do not use caffeine or stimulants just to get through the day because I'm so tired.
I'm not hungry. I don't.
You're not hungry because you're about to have 5 milligrams of caffeine.
Choose to eat usually until about 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1:30 sometimes. So I just start the day with a cup of coffee, and
that's like a gallon of cup of coffee.
I think it's more habit than anything now. I'm not like jonesing for a cup of coffee.
No, not jonesing for a cup of coffee. Then why do you use so much, Mark? Why don't you just drink decaf? I just like the taste. Why not drink decaf? Why not have a coffee substitute? The fact that Mark's going to, in my opinion, he's going to sit on camera there and says, "Oh, I'm not jonesing for coffee. Like, I don't need it. I just enjoy the taste. So I'm having a whole bag full of this stuff." It's crazy. So what he's going to do is he's going to dose himself up with powerful drugs like caffeine, so he can be pinging and buzzing all the way through the morning, so he doesn't have to eat. So this is, in my opinion, disordered eating. Taking drugs to avoid eating, to stave off hunger and run on adrenaline until lunchtime. And this is what all these high-fat, low-carb people do. They use drugs to power through the morning because they're so tired. They're so, I've got so much brain fog. Give me some stimulants to function. Crazy. It's sad. It's very, very sad.
Coffee or jonesing for caffeine. I just like the taste and the rich.
I just like the taste. That's why I have friggin' a whole bag of, like Columbia Cold. They want their coffee beans back, Mark.
And then I do add cream. I've got some raw cream here.
Just like the paleo people did back in the day. They had their kitchens of their French press plunger, whatever you call it, coffee, and they had cream. They had just shake a bottle and they put cream in it. All the primal paleo people back in Neanderthal days did that. They didn't they, Mark? They drank coffee and had cream with it. Yeah, sure.
And not shy about adding some cream to it.
Not shy. Look, he just tipped a little bit in there because Mark knows the fat sheet is the fat you wear. So you really got to be careful with how much fat you do eat. You'll notice his day today is pure calorie restriction. He's not eating like me. He's not eating in abundance. He's like taking the drugs, starving until lunch, and then go from there. Let's get into it.
And then I put a tiny bit of monk fruit sweetener.
Monk fruit sweetener. Monk fruit.
In, because I like that effect too.
Oh, so you like sweet, and you're denying your sweet cravings by having some monk fruit extract. You know what I mean? Like, that's just crazy, man. What a life. What a boring life. No real sugar. No real carbohydrate source. Just some stale tasting monk fruit with this bitter caffeine thing and a bit of cream, and just deprivation nation situation, in my opinion.
And I guess the main part of this for me, part of the ritual, is I do a crossword puzzle every morning, so I have to have my coffee. And
so he needs a cup of coffee, like a big, strong, 400 milligram cup of coffee, to do a crossword puzzle. What?
Do the crossword at the same time. Oh yeah. All right, so my first meal of the day.
First meal of the day is a salad that an anorexic guinea pig would not even be satisfied with a chunk of fish that my kitten would just devour in like 2 minutes. This is for a grown man who runs a business. Mark, come on, mate. You're eating more than this. This is a snack for you. Be honest. This is an absolute joke. Imagine how hungry you'd be after this. Imagine the sweet cravings you'd have after this. You'd be like, oh, I had a bit of save, but man, I need something sweet and juicy. This was not. Nobody is satisfied. If they're being honest, no one's satisfied with this little dish. Even back in the day when I was eating salad and fish, I'm like, where's the rice? Where's the sweet drink with it? There's no way this would be satisfying. No way, man. No way. Look how small that meal is. That's like 400 calories, maybe, for a grown man. No way.
Is typically what most people would call lunch. It's breaking the fast. And usually around 12:30, 1 o'clock, maybe 1:30. And it consists of...
Imagine how moody you'd be. Damn, you'd be so moody, so snappy. Go on these paleo forums and mention my name. People explode. They explode. So snappy and aggressive because they're so undercarb. Their serotonin's so low. Dopamine's so low. They get all itchy and snitchy and they go freaking out. They need some sugar, man. Some sugar, bro.
Protein and some form of a vegetable usually. And then today I've chosen to have salmon. This is pretty typical lunch for me, with some greens. It's not a big salad. It's not what I used to call a big-ass salad by any means. It's mostly about the protein these days. I'm going to dress it with some Primal Kitchen lemon turmeric dressing, which is my favorite, if I have to admit to having a favorite, within the line. And again, this is just enough to fill me up, satisfy me, get me fueled up, and enough protein to get me through the rest of the day.
Look how like unsatisfied Mark looks in his face. You know what I mean? Is he like, oh man, this is the best? Oh yeah. He's just like, I think he feels like a bit of a douchebag saying that this is all he has for lunch. You know what I mean? Yeah, guys, I'm just having this for lunch. Basically, in my opinion, Mark's just marketing himself to Americans who have an IQ of like 5, who want to believe that the Homer Simpson diet, bacon, eggs, and meat and fat will make you slim one day. And all it is, the reason why, Harley, I did Mark Sisson's program, lost weight. It's like, yeah, because you're starving yourself. You're eating less than a 4-year-old kid is recommended to eat by pediatricians. A 4-year-old kid's recommended to be like 1,500 calories a day. So you're eating like a 4, 5, 6-year-old kid as a 300-pound adult. Of course you're going to lose weight. But you're also going to lose relationships. You're going to lose sanity. You're going to lose fitness. You're going to lose red blood cells. You're going to lose hormonal function. You're going to lose a lot. You might even lose your job and your house and your kids and your mortgage and your marriage because you're so glucose exhausted you crash your car. Please, people, please.
Until dinner time. So I probably won't eat again until 7:30, maybe 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock at night. So 2 meals a day for me. And that's it.
Imagine that, big 7-hour window, no eating, get some carb cravings, and they can't have carbs. Got some sweet cravings, can't have any sweet. We can have a little bit of monk fruit, just a pinch of monk fruit and water. Just a little pinch of monk fruit for you there. Oh my God.
All right, after lunch, I don't snack in the afternoon.
This guy's got in my opinion, eating disorder. This is very sad to see.
feel compelled to. I think there's probably
I don't feel Harley, but Mark says he doesn't feel compelled to. This is the same guy who says he doesn't drink coffee for the hit. He drinks coffee for the taste and pours in that whole bag of coffee. I'm not jonesing for caffeine, bro. That's like a heroin addict on the street saying, "Man, I ain't jonesing for the hit, bro," and they just like backloading that slim pin full of freaking Afghanistani dark gold, and they're just slinging that in. And they're like, "Oh no, I don't do heroin because it makes me feel a certain way. I just do it because I like the taste." Dude, you are a caffeine addict, man. Look what you know. Like, this is the same guy as I don't need to get any craving. I don't need any snacks. Same guy is like saying I don't drink coffee for caffeine. I just drink coffee because of the taste. Pours in the whole bag of coffee. Come on, bro. No way, mate.
a reason not to snack unless you're hungry, and I'm really not that hungry.
I'm really not that hungry, Your Honor. No one in the jury believes you, Mark. No one in the jury believes you. Unless they're in ketosis and in Space Cadet La La Land.
So for dinner, I might have a ribeye steak, usually some form of beef or pork or lamb.
Why do these meat eater paleo people, the caveman guys, use a fork to put the meat in the thing? Like, did caveman use a fork or they use the hand? When they had the woolly mammoth steak on the special, $200 French freaking saute frying pan thing, whatever. Oh, that's why they didn't have that, did they? Paleo days, though.
Lamb, rarely chicken anymore, and a little bit of vegetables in this case.
Just a little bit of vegetables.
Some asparagus and maybe some avocado. So I'll just transfer. This is about an average size steak that I would consume.
What meat eater in nature eats this meat with a utensil? You know? Like imagine my cats. This steak where they just like run off with it down the back garden and just chow down to it, blood, guts and all. And he's got a little fork on there. He's gonna wash the dishes with some dishwashing liquid like caveman paleo Tom did. Mark, you mate. Mark always gives me a laugh. I definitely I give credit where credit's due. Mark always gives me a good laugh.
For dinner, and I'm gonna guess that the total calories here is probably 900.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? And the lunch was like 400, so you got 1,300 calories in a day. Just today, looking like that. If that's really what you eat, which I don't think you do. But, you know what I mean?
On this plate. And if you add that to the salmon and the salad I had for lunch, which is probably about, to be generous, 600. We're at under 2,000 calories for the day.
Look how he jumps that up. Dude, you're way under, unless you're drinking the dressing with full oil, you're way under 2,000 calories a day, which is about what you'd need if you're an 8-year-old girl on the basketball team. 8-year-old girl, all right?
And yet, if you look at the amount of protein that I've consumed.
I like how he brings back the protein. If people are starting to ask questions, just throw protein's name in the circle. People are like, yeah, protein. Oh, yeah, protein. Because the status quo social narrative worships. Oh, but protein, where'd you get protein from? Quality protein, full protein, complete protein? Yeah, protein. Where'd you get protein from? Yeah. And Mark sells protein powder on his website. Just like caveman paleo day guys did and girls did. Paleo powder, protein powder. If you didn't get enough protein from your meat-based diet, we got to sell you protein powder. Isn't that hilarious?
It's a significant amount. It's well in excess of 100 grams of protein.
Which is 400 calories.
Some healthy fats in the form of avocado.
Some healthy fats in the form of avocado.
In the form of avocado oil, in the form of some of the saturated fat in the grass-fed ribeye steak.
What does it matter if it's grass-fed? It's still 10 grams of saturated fat is 10 grams of saturated fat no matter what the animal was fed. It's still 10 grams of saturated fat and trans fats. And yes, you do create trans fats when you cook meat. This meat, this steak here that belonged to a cow's ass does have trans fats, and it has benzopyrenes and advanced glycated end products because the way he cooked it. If you're going to eat meat, eat it like the animals do. Eat it raw.
And not a lot of carbs. The carbs are...
Not a lot of carbs because, 5 billion people on the planet who eat a carb-based diet and they're lean in Africa, India, Asia. They must be wrong. All right? All you Americans with an IQ of 4.5 watching this video, you guys are smart and don't eat carbs because you might get obese like the people in Asia and India and Africa who are very, very lean, and just forget they don't exist.
largely in the form of leafy greens, or in this case, the asparagus.
Asparagus, carbohydrates. We're getting the carbs tonight from asparagus. Carb loading on asparagus. Where do you get carbs from, bro? Oh, asparagus. Ooh, you're living dangerously there. Living dangerously. I guess if you eat too much asparagus, it might tip you out of ketosis and start causing obesity. Because the average 400-pounder in Kansas City definitely induced obesity via asparagus. So careful on the asparagus, kids. It's very high sugar.
So I don't feel compelled to eat a lot of carbs.
Look at that. That sounded really convincing, Mark. Because your wife eats carbs and your daughters eat carbs based on Instagram, etc. So, what's going on there?
I would have a glass of wine or two.
Okay, he looks away. And he goes straight on. I don't have carbs. I don't feel compelled to have carbs. But hey, where's the alcohol? Where's the alcohol, kids? Isn't all these sugar-phobic people, every single one of these sugar-phobic people, you got any red wine? You got any red wine? All of them, man. Even if, regardless if they're doing paleo or vegan or whatever, the sugar-phobic people, how much they love their red wine. Look, ask around. Watch people. They love their red. I got to have a red. Don't you question my red, Harley. Stay away from my booze. I got to have my red.
Two with this evening meal, and that would...
Because Caveman had a nice glass of red wine with his meat, didn't he? His woolly mammoth meat. Had the grapevines on the way there, hunting the woolly mammoth, and just, like making the wine and just storing that for the woolly mammoth kill. They definitely had the red wine in the bottle, just pouring it like a restaurant in Santa Rosa, California. Yeah. For sure. Caveman days, Mark, for sure.
Most likely be a dry farm wine selection, which means it's got no sugar, lower in alcohol, lower in tannins, and things like that. I think the point is, and I'm going to...
I think the point is, Mark, you're absolutely full of bullshit. You've got a starvation nation situation on that plate right there. Your kitchen's super clean, looks really nice, natural lighting, but bro, you are fleecing people with this starvation diet. You are causing massive health issues. People are glucose exhausted. They're going to go and binge purge cycles from trying to eat 1,500 calories a day is what you've shown here is today. What I eat in a day. People are going to mimic that, and they're going to suffer psychologically with low serotonin levels. They're going to suffer with low dopamine levels. They're going to become addicted to stimulants like caffeine, et cetera, et cetera. And we see things like modafinil, Adderall, Ritalin. I've used these things before, and they are powerful, powerful drugs. And you see the dosages some of these paleo-primal people take, and they're like 200 milligram modafinil or 400 milligram of modafinil. If I had 400 milligrams of modafinil in a day, I wouldn't sleep for like 7.5 months. And these people are doing this daily because they're so glucose exhausted. Even Mark's using caffeine to do a crossword puzzle. That's what we're talking about, adrenal exhaustion.
Really talk about this in depth in a discussion I have with Brad later on about this notion of metabolic flexibility and how efficient the body really can be in terms of using calories the right way.
He's like a politician. Metabolic flexibility in terms of how using the body and calories in the right way. Like, what does that even mean? It sounds really good and slippery off the tongue, but what does that actually really mean? Metabolic flexibility teaches the body to use calories in the right... Like, what? People are like, yeah. Makes sense. Like, what?
And using the macronutrients the right way.
The right way. See, what is the right way, Mark? What's the right way? You know what I mean? Like, this is very, very subjective. It's very mysterious and doesn't make any logical sense. If this was a court of law, the judge would be like, or the prosecutor would be, so exactly, what do you mean the right way, Mark? Objectively, what does that mean? He doesn't mention that. He just...
For instance, so much of the protein we consume should not be combusted as fuel, should be used, in fact, to repair tissue and to make...
Well, if you're eating such little calories a day, that protein will be used as fuel, Mark. It will be used as fuel.
And to create enzymes. So, the body's ability when you're metabolically flexible...
Whenever he's confused or staggering or stalling, he goes, just throw in a good term that the noobs will go, yeah, metabolic flexible, yeah.
To generate ketones to fuel the brain, so the need for carbohydrates goes away or dissipates, certainly.
It never goes away, Mark. The body always prefers glucose for the brain. All right, it doesn't go away. It's just that's the desire. That's like saying in being in a sexless marriage, the urge for sex doesn't go away, and that's a preference, but people just sort of put up with it or whatever. But if you're living in ketone land, your life really sucks. If you have a libido and you're living in a sexless marriage, yeah, that just sucks. That just sucks. So if you're anything that you need, your daily needs aren't being met, whatever it is, physiological or psychological, you're not getting those things met, you are going to have a poorer quality of life, whether that's fresh water, sunshine, warmth, cooling, whatever. If you don't have those needs met, your life just sucks. Imagine these people suffering with sweet cravings because their body runs on sugar, and they can't have that because Mark, with his monk fruit and his bogus caveman supplements, is just fleecing people, in my opinion.
And the efficiency with which you're able to utilize the food that you do eat, as long as it is good quality food.
Utilize your food as long as it's good. Let's utilize. What does the utilize mean? What does good quality mean? That's so subjective. Good quality for you is different to me. Like, you know, Mark, why does your wife and kids eat different to you? Why do they eat high carb, low fat? Why is that?
You become more efficient at that. And at the end of the day, the biggest issue, as I always say, is hunger. And if hunger is not an issue for you, if you've developed metabolic flexibility and hunger no longer runs your life.
Bro, hunger runs everybody's life. If it doesn't, you're on a heck ton of stimulants. And that's why, Mark, correct if I'm wrong, you smash that big high dose caffeine early in the morning to starve your hunger out, to switch your body off of hunger, using drugs to do that. So hunger rules everyone. If it doesn't, you're on a crap ton of drugs or you're very, 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 very sick. Hunger drive is normal. Carb the F up, so stay lean.
And you're able to identify what is true hunger and what are cravings and sort of...
That's the same thing.
Learned behaviors or comfort behaviors.
Learned behaviors, comfort behaviors would be eating meat and stuff like that, you know, your family's serving up. You want to be comfortable for them and don't want to say no to that. That's comfort eating. Also, believing that you need to eat meat because it's like some nutritionist person said you need it, but you're like, it doesn't really sit. It sits in my gut really heavy. Can you imagine? I remember when I used to eat a big steak like this, how it just sat in my gut, just feeling stodgy compared to like rice or high water content soup or some fruit or whatever. You know, this stuff just sat there feeling like bleh, bleh. Go and eat a steak and then go and try and run fast like an hour, 2 hours later. You know, and do that every day. So you get that build up of steak, the build up of meat just sitting in your gut. It don't feel good.
You can really settle into a very tasty and effective way of fueling yourself, literally with every meal.
He doesn't look at that. He's not looking satisfied. He's just thinking, man, another dried steak with this fake sugar stuff. Man, turn this camera off and let me crack out the pasta, the pizza, the ice cream, the sweets, the soft drink, the sodas. Let me crack it out. Turn this camera off and let's get the real food served, please.
Meal of every day and making sure that every bite tastes awesome, as I do.
Unconvincing, Mark. Unconvincing.
By the way, when I'm home, I love to use Primal Kitchen steak sauce on my steaks.
He loves to make his steak taste sweet. Oh, wow. Isn't that a surprise?